This is Kugan Cassis for Eiffel TV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbella. We're at the press conference here for Anthony Crolla versus Barroso, May 7th.
Is it Ish or is it Is?
Ishmael.
Do you know, I've sadly watched a few of my interviews back with you, and you know when I did that, the pie, yeah. David Brent actually did that, and a lot of people thought that I was doing that, just like pretending it was David Brent, but it wasn't. So I'm going to try and be less David Brent-like.
Do you know what? I'm going to urge someone, an editor out there, boxing editor, to pick out Eddie Hearn's top 10
people have already done it.
Cringe moments
People
on
have already done it.
Because the Jumbo Jet's got to be up there as well.
Jumbo Jets makes sense. Jumbo Jets, and do you remember the Frampton thing about when you got the car salesman?
Yeah.
And you walk off, and you know that was.
So your analogies work sometimes.
I've got some other analogies for you as well during this interview that I've been thinking about. So.
Okay. Crolla is fighting Barroso, despite what some people suggested prior to this fight being announced. Why would he give the belt up?
Well, of course he wouldn't, and you know that, and everyone knows that. But if you're referring to the Flanagan fight, you know, I think there's 3 or 4 reasons why the Flanagan fight's not happening now. One is when we got the Darlys Perez rematch, we signed a legal resolution that we had to fight, no exceptions, no unifications, the winner of Ismael Barroso against Derry Matthews. Ironically, they actually pushed for that resolution on behalf of Derry Matthews. Of course, he didn't take the fight with Barroso. Mitchell took the fight. When Barroso won the fight against Mitchell, we got a letter straight away, just to remind you, this is the resolution, you have to fight Barroso. I'll be honest with you, and I think there's a great interview that we done after the fight where you went, is Ismael Barroso next for Anthony Crolla? And I just started laughing, because after watching his destruction of Kevin Mitchell, I was thinking, how are we going to get out of this one? Crolla didn't want to. Even on that night, he said, I'll beat him, I want to fight him. I was like, are you sure? So that's the first thing, we have to fight him, unless we vacate the title. Never going to happen in a million years. He's worked so hard to win this title. Do you think I'm going to let Anthony Crolla vacate a belt and then get messed around with an injury, or they can't sell the tickets, or a show's postponed, or whatever, for him to be sitting there holding his dick with no belt? The answer is, don't be so ridiculous. Number 2 is the money's not enough. When we do this fight, I'll show you how much money this can generate, and both lads will earn a lot more than that. Number 3 is not even worth telling you, because you'll edit it out. But I have an obligation to look after my fighter financially and protect my fighter. And I would love to tell you what I mean, but you won't put it in a video, so I'll have to do it on someone else's interview.
I don't know what to say to that, because it's a bit.
Do you want me to say it and you can decide whether you edit it out?
No, I don't want you to say it if people know what you're talking about.
People do know. People in the game know.
Okay.
But, I mean, you don't want to get in any little backwards and forwards, and I understand it. But sometimes, if people want to be silly, then they'll get told. But there's no point in me telling you, because you don't want the aggravation.
So. The aggravation, but we do sit right in the middle of yourselves and.
Let's just stick to number 1, which is the truth. He has to fight Barroso. But he wants to fight Barroso. And when he beats Barroso, his stock will go through the roof. And when we decide to make the Flanagan fight, which will probably be next, we'll do it for a lot of money. A lot of money. And everyone will get paid on time.
Okay, so hypothetically, Crolla beats Barroso.
Tough fight.
Yes, it's not a given at all.
Underdog.
Probably
one of the toughest first defences you've seen a champion take for a while.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably the most feared lightweight in the division. Probably the most dangerous lightweight in the division.
Linares?
No, not dangerous. I think Linares against Barroso is a great fight, but dangerous.
Yeah, danger zone.
Danger zone. I've called it danger zone.
You idiot. Okay, so just to say, Crolla comes through the Barroso fight, touch wood he does. Isn't the main issue regarding this fight not the money, the whatever, it's the fact that Frank would want this fight on BoxNation. You want this fight on Sky Sports.
Probably, yeah.
So that's the main issue, probably.
Yeah, I'd go to say that. I mean, I want the fight where the most amount of money can be generated. I mean, again, I don't want to be a smart ass or sound disrespectful. When Terry Flanagan, and listen, I really like Flanagan. I think he's a great fighter. When he fought for the world title, they had about 2,500 in there at the Velodrome, right? Crolla fought for the world title against Perez. We had 11,000 in there. When he defended against Magdaleno, Flanagan, I think they sold about 2,500 tickets. Call it 3,000 max, be generous. Crolla just boxed Perez again in front of 8,000. When he fought Derry Matthews at the weekend, I don't know, some people tell me 2, some people tell me 3. I think one person even told me 4. Call it 4,000, right? You're talking on different levels. So, I think that in terms of what broadcaster it's going to be on, I want to promote this show and generate as much money in the pot as possible. I think it's actually a talent to only sell the amount of tickets they're selling for these shows. Because I'll be honest with you now, if I did Flanagan against Matthews, a Scouser against a Mancunian, and I couldn't sell out that Echo Arena, I think I'd retire. I think I could have sold 4,000 tickets announcing the fight on my social media and then just go and have a kip for 8 weeks. How can you only sell this amount of tickets? I don't understand. So how can I put a fight of this magnitude in your hands when I can do 4 or 5 times the job that you can do? The question is, if I was doing that fight, Matthews again, would I have sold it out? And you know the answer. The answer is yes, but you won't say.
You don't sell out every event that you put on.
No, but you sell out a world title fight it's a good fight. How can you only sell that amount of tickets? What are you doing?
Anyway.
What are you doing? Answer the question.
I'm not doing anything.
Why are they only selling, when Andy Lee boxed Billy Joe, how many did they sell? I don't know. Allegedly. 3,000. 3,000? It's a skill to sell such few tickets.
Anyway.
Why are you laughing?
I'm just you. You.
You're going to edit all this out?
I'm not going to edit nothing out. No, I'm not going to edit nothing out, as you say. But
listen, going back to your original question, which is it you want to get it on Sky? Yes, I do. But ultimately, I want to make sure we generate as much money as possible. I want to make sure everybody gets paid. And I know I can generate the most money possible for this fight. The next question would be, well, would you do sealed bids? Maybe. But I'll only do sealed bids on one condition. That when that bid is open, the money is inside the envelope. Not, we'll see how we get on with selling the tickets. Because, again, I won't say because you won't let me. The money is lodged there. And if you don't put the show on, you forfeit the money.
But ahead of all this, Anthony Crolla has a huge task.
Massive fight. Listen, he could lose the fight. It's a really difficult fight. It's a great fight. You're talking about Barroso's probably got a bigger profile than Flanagan in the UK at the moment. Barroso's just been seen on a pay-per-view audience of well over 400,000. He had the replays on Sky. How many people watched him box? A million and a half in the UK? How many people watched Terry Flanagan box on Saturday?
I don't know the figures.
I don't know. 20, 30, 40, 50, who knows? But this is a big fight. We've already seen from the box office sales today, the pre-sale on Matchroom Fight Pass. This is a big fight and a tough fight, a great fight. So I believe Anthony's going to win. I think one thing that is exceptional with Crolla is he executes game plans. And I think he will need to do that on the night to beat Barroso.
You announced on the undercard that Martin Murray will feature ahead of a potential fight with George Groves, which you said that negotiations are already underway.
Yeah, well, they're more than already underway. They're nearly done. I mean, Calla wants the George Groves fight, the Martin Murray fight for George. So do we. think it's a great fight. We're looking at that end of June, early July.
Where?
O2. And I just think it's a wonderful fight. Martin will box here first. George will announce later this week with Sowlands on an upcoming show very soon. And I can't wait to make Groves Murray. Just think it's a brilliant fight.
Okay. Ricky Burns and DeRocco.
Finally back to Glasgow.
End of May.
A little bit. The stick. I've had 2 years of stick from the Scots saying, when are you going to bring boxing back? And now we've got the fight to do it. Ricky Burns bid to become a freeweight world champion against DeRocco. I think he's lost for 9 years. DeRocco. Willie Limond against Tyrone Nurse for British light welterweight title. Ryan Burnett on the card as well. Charlie Flynn, first title fight, Commonwealth Games champion. Joe Ham, looking to try and get Josh Taylor on as well. Speaking to Cyclone about that, my buddies. So it's going to be a big show up there. And at the Hydro, first professional night of boxing ever at the Hydro. It's a fantastic arena.
What's the deal then? If Burns wins, hopefully he does. What's the deal with Theophane and Broner?
I would think we'll have to fight Broner immediately if he beats Theophane. And that's one of the reasons we looked at taking the fight.
That's weird, isn't it? Because it was like 3 or 4 years ago that Broner was calling out Burns at every opportunity.
Benavidez, who was the number one in the division, was due to fight DeRocco for the regular title. And Benavidez has moved up to Hump 147. So we put a request in to make Burns against DeRocco, and it was approved by WBO. And I think the winner of that will fight Broner for the super belt.
Exciting times for Ricky.
Very. I'm so pleased for him. You know what I mean? You know, he's had his fair share of shit to go through, and broke his jaw against Beltran, got a mandatory against Crawford, which is about as difficult as it could get at the time. And now he gets a chance to make history as a freeweight world champ. I'm delighted to deliver the opportunity for him. And I'm delighted to go back to Glasgow as well. Be interesting to see the response. It's been nearly 2 years.
Good nights in Glasgow.
Great nights, great atmosphere.
Next show is next week. All of the lights.
Yeah.
Kell Brook versus Kevin Bizier. You looking to just get this fight out of the way?
Yeah, I mean, look, I actually think it's going to be a decent fight. I think styles make fights. I was with Kell last week. He just wants to just go in, damage. He wants to destruct and destroy, and Bizier will provide him with that kind of fight because he's game, he's durable, he comes forward in straight lines, he can punch a bit. And the other guys he's been in with have just been steamrolled by his strength. Jojo Dan, Frankie Gavin. But Bizier will stand in front of him and fight. I think it'll be a decent fight while it lasts. Campbell against Coyle. Campbell against Sykes. The Commonwealth lightweight title was a great fight for Luke to come back to. Both sold a huge amount of tickets. Allen against Towers, an eliminator for the British heavyweight title. It's a great fight. Etchy's on as well. It's a good little card. Sold well. I mean, I think these kind of nights tell you about the pulling power of a fighter. We'll have over 7,000 in there in Sheffield. I think that's a testament to the draw of Kell Brook.
Is the British title, heavyweight title, vacant as of now?
No, Joshua's got it.
Yeah, but he's going to vacate it?
No, only vacate it if he wins.
Oh, right.
Don't have to vacate.
Don't have to vacate it before. What else do I have to ask you? Are you still hopeful that Brook will be in a mega fight?
I think he has to be. I mean, talk about what do you call mega? Is Vargas mega in the unification? Is Bradley mega?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they're two of our premium targets. I think Bradley will beat Pacquiao. Personally, the Garcia fight, I think he's going to fight Mayweather. I think HBO were keen for us to fight Cotto on June the 13th. We told them in a heartbeat, but I don't think Cotto and Rock Nation fancied that fight. Don't blame them. So
you know what you should have done? You should have just never ever mentioned the word mega. You should just when it gets announced, it gets announced. I think what happens is like.
Well, listen, he has to be in a big fight. It doesn't matter if we have to travel; he'll do it. But you can't ignore what people. Like he's got Twitter. He knows everyone wants him to be in a big fight, and you read that, and we know he's got to be in a big fight. You know, he was supposed to box Diego Chavez. I think that would have been a good fight for him. I think it would have been a great performance, and we could have moved on. But he didn't have that fight, and the fact is that, you know, he hasn't had the big fights. Injury, you know, whether it's been boxing related or not, has meant that he hasn't been able to. But he's champion of the world in the 147-pound division, and travel or not, he will fight anyone. The only thing I would say is, and I know people are, everyone knows how good he is. And this is like the problem with Cotto. If you're Cotto, why would you fight Kell Brook? So you need to find either a young, hungry fighter who wants a world title. Maybe Errol Spence. Kell fight Errol Spence.
He's fighting Algieri.
Yeah, good fight. So, you know, he will fight anyone. All right?
I've got 150 seconds.
Okay.
What can
See
you...
you later, Joe. You got the backdrop, yeah? Okay, love it. It was only £1,000. Yeah, cheers, mate. Crolla. See you. Look at this. Look at this combo. Look.
We've already been through this.
People said that the world title didn't go to his head. It just went to his wardrobe.
That's it. Thought it'd be a bit.
I know, yeah.
Shirt was blinding him, wasn't it?
I know.
Eddie's having it.
I'll speak to you later about that thing on Saturday.
Oh yeah, I don't know what this is gonna be.
Joe, tell him about it. Yeah, okay.
Right, I'll
See you later, mate. Take care. See you later. See you later. Yeah, he's approved it, Joe. Yeah. See you, mate.
I have 110 seconds.
Okay.
What else can you tell us?
Got 4 weeks coming up. So we got March 26th in Sheffield, April the 2nd in Liverpool. I think that Liverpool show is one of the best shows we've done. Smith against Mohammadi is a great fight. Rabras against Fielding is a great fight. Cardle against Dodd, rematch of Fight of the Year, is a great fight. We just added Doran against Keeler, which is a great fight as well. Then we got April the 2nd, April the 9th at the O2, Joshua Martin, Selby against Hunter, Macklin against Rose. Got another, probably a world title fight to announce, and another big name to be added, and a debutant as well. You'll get most of that this week. The week after we're in Leeds. Warrington against Amagassa, Stuart Hall against Guerrero, Martin Ward, and a big fight as well. And that's 4 weeks on the spin. And the same night, Stephen Smith challenging Pedraza for the IBF world title. So there's loads and loads going on.
So 16th was your last show in April. You ain't got anything to the back end?
We might go April 30th.
Where?
In London, but we're running out of time, so probably not.
To go?
No, not now. No.
Okay. Got 34 seconds. Have you got anything else to say?
James DeGale's fighting Rogelio Medina on April 30th, live on Sky Sports.
I just asked you if it was De Gale on the 30th. You went no.
Oh no, I was talking about London.
Yeah.
No, he's fighting in Texas.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Then May the 7th, we're in Manchester. Then May the 28th, we're in Glasgow. June the 4th, we're probably at Everton.
For
the
what?
Big Bellew card.
Really?
Yeah, very close to
3
getting that done
seconds.
now.
We're nearly out.
And massive news is I